Jumbo, fellow adventurers, happy Friday. I'm Mike Dooley. Time for a tune-up. This week we're talking about how to have the easiest, best, straightforward manifestations possible. And it's not just about thinking those good thoughts. It's about clearing out some of that baggage, which is today's question. It's about breaking past patterns, breaking from poverty consciousness. Specifically, here it goes. Mike, growing up in poverty, I feel like I've absorbed a lot of patterns that don't fit the future I want. On top of this, I feel like I've always been so worried about everyone else's needs that I never figured out who I was. I put everyone else's needs above my own, and now I don't know what I want to do. I just know what I want long term. Oh, that's a good place to be. Long term will get you there. Can you speak on breaking patterns that don't serve you? Or where do I start when I don't know what really drives my heart, my soul? Is it helping others? I know I want to help others in some way. Okay, there's a lot here. Let's unpeel it. But first, let me share something that is not typically considered. Your past was your past by design. There was a purpose to it. There's order. There were objectives, and they were met. Yet too often we discover the truth of life and our power, and our thoughts become things, and the universe wants for us what we want. We just have to think about it to bring it about. But then we think, oh yeah, great for everybody else. But I had a poverty childhood. I had abuse. I had it's good for everyone, but not for me. Your past is going to serve you in ways you cannot imagine. It's not some random thing like, oh, what bad luck I got, everybody else got it good. Now, I'm not implying that the questioner is coming from that perspective, but too often we do feel like life is random and it's happening to us, and it would be awesome if I didn't have X, Y, and Z to deal with. Your life is awesome in part because you have X, Y, and Z to deal with. And that's going to put you in another orbit really soon. You're already on your way there. Even that this question arose has great meaning. How many people have had a difficult childhood, poverty consciousness, and don't even think to ask, how can I change this? This is life's lot. This is where I am. This was God's decision. This is my karma. You're in the place to know better. Your question evidences that. And so these are exciting times for you. Get that you're not a victim of the past. And then get, which is implied by your question, that your power lies in the present moment. You are totally free, and I'm going to give you some tips in a moment, to think what you want to think, believe what you want to believe, behave as you want to behave, and write a brand new script for your entire life. You can rearrange the stars of your future. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what guidance was missing in your childhood, what negativity, what poverty consciousness was. Doesn't matter that there may have been violations. All of it's going to serve you. Your power is now, not in the past, not in prior lifetimes, not in sacred agreements, not in karma. It is now. You hold the deck, you deal the cards, you decide everything. And you're asking this question because you sense that that is true. So good on you. You're halfway there. And that you could ask this question and be aware of old mindsets and conditioning and patterns that would affect anybody who wasn't aware of thoughts becoming things. Shows that, in my view, you're off that loop. You don't have the past to contend with anymore, but you don't realize that. It's too easy, and I've spoken to this before, to think that, well, because I was violated when I was 9, because my parents abandoned me, because I had this, because I don't have legs, I have a totally different experience, and I'm much more limited than people who didn't have this happen to them. But what you're blinded from seeing is that everyone's dealing with something. And I'm not saying it's as great as what you went through, but they're dealing with something. And too often, somebody who's gone through a violation, for example, will think, well, that's why I don't have higher self-esteem. That's why I find it difficult to say no. That's why I let people walk all over me. Most people don't have high esteem. Most people can't say no. Most people let others walk all over them. Don't be thinking that you have this extraordinarily difficult burden that nobody else has, because then you create this burden that nobody else has. And it wasn't because of what happened in the past. It's because you've given your power away, thinking that you are somehow disadvantaged, and you are not disadvantaged. You are empowered. You know better. These things that happened in the past made you go within to ask questions that most people don't ask. Power on. And so now you're looking for direction, and you don't know where to go, and you don't know who you are, and you've helped too many people. You've helped so many people in the past. I'm not trying to play this. This is a great place to be coming from. But this kind of uncertainty is the byproduct of the luxury of stepping into your power. You're there. So now what do you got to do? Well, thoughts become things. Imagine new end results. And when you imagine those new end results, and you're surrounded by abundance, and you can play with money and give it away, and more keeps coming to you. When you imagine stuff like that, do you know what happens to your life? Nothing. It takes months, maybe a couple of years. But then, then during those months, or a couple of years, too many people think, well, it must be my past programming. It must be that I let people walk all. No, it was working. You created brand new thoughts that most people don't think. And it takes some time for a big dream to come true. Not just because of your old conditioning, but because circumstances, because players, because you have other priorities, because you have some fears, because you have 60,000 thoughts a day. So it takes time, and you've just now come into an awareness of your awesome eternal power, and that the future is a blank slate, and so it's going to need to play itself out. All right, so don't be thinking that you've given your power away, or that it's too late, or because of something happened. And please, I don't want this to come off like I'm speaking down or belittling. I have been through that kind of stuff. I have had my issues. I have had to work through it. I still work through stuff. I'm just trying to flip it and show you what an exciting place you are now at. So what do you do? And to serve others was part of the question. Do anything. Do what you can with what you've got from where you are, which is very little compared to where you dream of going. But whether it's a volunteer 1 day a month, become a big brother, become a big sister, help your nieces, help your kids, just do little things here, there, and everywhere. Do things for complete strangers. Whether it's a smile or an act of kindness or something behind the scenes, there is no shortage of opportunity for any one of us to lighten the load of somebody else 24/7. It doesn't have to be, this is my career, I'm saving the planet, I'm going to be serving the world. Just look for these little opportunities. And I love this comment, I just know what I want long term. That is so powerful, because generally long term is broad brush. I just know I want to be at peace. I just know I want to have friends. I just know I'd like to raise a family. I just know that I never want to worry about money again. The universe is like, I'm all over that. You can totally have that. So easy, because when you go long term, you're not micromanaging. And when you're micromanaging, it's hit or miss, ricochet, backfire, fall down, get back up. Don't micromanage. You can dabble there, but don't attach to those manifestations. Go big picture, go long term, and in the meantime, enjoy your amazing life and the gift of your power and the realizations that you are well on your way of having. Thanks for the awesome question. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy everything forever and ever. Post your questions below on Facebook or Instagram. Let's see. How are you doing this to me, Facebook? I don't see my comments. Oh, Nancy, Linda, Marianne, happy Friday, happy weekend. Patty, Michelle, Chris, glad you're here. Ray, Cindy, Lauren, yay, indeed. Embodied practice. Glad you're here. Have an amazing weekend. Post your questions below. They can be my talking points next week. I'll talk about whatever you want, aliens, Bigfoot, politics, COVID-19, vaccinations. There's 300 earlier tune-ups. Don't miss those either. And if you'd rather get all of them and not just have to hit or miss 10-minute answers on Facebook or Instagram, I now have a podcast. Check out the link below or swipe up on Instagram. Every week there's 2 45-minute drops. So these Q&A, interviews, and some other really cool, juicy stuff. Happy everything. Hasta pronto.